Lorna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Joe and Doug are on their way to Johnstown for their ribbon cutting, so they will not be attending. But they will be back in time for those lead generation workshop. So if you're interested, you should totally come. It will also be on Zoom, and I will have a post going out on Facebook like an hour before it. So the class is from 4 to 5. So if you can swing it, I definitely would recommend because it's.
And that's today?
Yes. Yep.
I'm going to be there.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Oh.
Good. So since I will be hosting this book club, I would like to know where everyone is at in the book. Has everyone read up to and read through Tactic 2 and 3 yet?
I am behind. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
I was 2 last week, so yeah.
I missed last week. I made the first week,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't really have it the first week.
It was more of like an intro thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I missed the second week, which got meaty.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Go ahead, Lorna. You broke up on us.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I'm a couple pages of Tactic 3.
Okay. Awesome. And then what about you, Mike?
I have read through chapter 3. I found chapter 3 to be less interesting than chapter 2. Part of it to me was chapter 3 gets into too much about, though he doesn't talk about specifically about teams and cutting costs and things like that. And I appreciate your comment, Chris, about, profit centers and controllers and things like that. I agree. But I didn't find, I guess I found 3 less interesting than 2. Yes, he's making some points. But so, yeah, so I've read 2 a couple of times, 3 just once.
Okay. So I think that, so let's start with Tactic 2 and then go into 3 because I do agree with you that Tactic 2 is, I think, probably the most important thing for all of our agents at this time, since we are going into the shift. And, I'm someone who likes to be prepared. And so, just with general, managing your business, this Tactic 2 for remargining your business and finding your profit margin is really, really important. And so then to get out ahead of it. And so then, once it does drop, then you can adjust your expenses and maintain your profit margin in lockstep so you don't fall too far behind. And I really, I wanted to point out specifically, just on page 29, the first page, James York quoted as the most successful people are those who have a good plan B.
Yes.
Yes.
And are willing to pivot.
I have that marked in my book.
Oh yeah, yeah. I tore up my just marking everything, and so. But yeah, so and the first, to identify the other effective business changes your current circumstances require, and the first one is the only one that can get you back to profitability the fastest, which is cutting costs.
Right. I just want to interrupt you a second, but the second line of that, or the continuation of that line, to me is even more important. Plan, plan, plan. Plan to effective change. Whatever can go wrong is going to go wrong. I can guarantee it. I've been there so many times in other businesses. Whatever you think is going to, this will never happen. This will never happen. It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Some idiot will come out and do something stupid, and you'll go, "Why would you do that?"
Yeah.
And
You're absolutely right, Michael. Planning precedes performance.
there you go.
Before we go spend $1,000 and hire a marketing company, we don't know what they're going to bring to the table. We haven't done an estimate of their return of investment, their ROI. We have to think that through before we spend that money, right?
Yep.
Before COVID, when I wasn't in a shifting market and I could sell houses to buyers all day long, people would call me on the phone and they would say, well, Chris, would you spend $500 for that? Well, yeah, I'll spend $500 for that. Here's my credit card number. And there wasn't a whole lot of thought that went before that decision because I knew I had a pipeline with X in it, right? But in this market, I got a call yesterday and the guy said, look, I'll give you leads, 25%. The only fee is $299. And I was this close. I almost pulled my business card out of my wallet. So I'm like, 300, that's 300, it's 300, that's not a lot. I was about to give him the number. And I went through the tunnel and I lost signal because I changed my mind, right? Because, you know, when you're hungry for business and somebody says, I'll give you leads, you're like, what do I have to give you for?
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean they're going to pan out.
exactly. And I think that, you know, you just saying that really ties into, you know, in growing times, we tend to become profitable with positive cash flow and loose with financial decision making. And then we review the bottom line, profit, trust all is well, and fail to scrutinize the detail.
We definitely do.
Yeah, and so then with that profit, it can also give a false reading. And I'm reading this off of page 31 here. And then we kind of mistakenly justify our increased expenses as the cost of doing business.
Yeah, when it's not a cost of doing business, it's something that you're exploring or you're trying or whatever. And you can't just go trying stuff.
Yeah.
Without the planning.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing, you know, is to make a profit, you do also have to manage your expenses. You know, nobody has, you know, oh, what is it from here? So name a business, yeah. So from Charlie Munger, who's Warren Buffett's partner, he says, name a business that has been ruined by downsizing. I can't name one. Name a company that has been ruined by bloat. I can name dozens. And so I think that's another thing of, you know,
And from growing too fast.
yeah, and like when you just toss money at things, you know, because you're making money, so you just toss more money at like other expenses, because you're like, well, we're making money, so like, what's the downside? And then the shift happens, and then all of a sudden, all of the money that you had invested is no longer smart money, and it's dumb money, and so then now all of a sudden, you know, you're 2 steps behind, and then you have to reevaluate and manage your profit margin and figure out how you can continue to manage your business from a positive profit margin.
Right.
Note on this for anybody who's doing a team.
Pretty much.
Note on this. When I first started the team, I thought, can I afford to invest in a team? I knew I was going to build a team. I knew I was going to leave the area, and the reason for the team was to work my book after I left the area, so that I would still get a percentage of my own book. I can't work my own book from the West Coast,
Yeah.
right? So I thought, well, can I have more to even invest in a team? And then I realized, in my situation, I can't not invest in a team because I want more than 25% of the book I'm going to leave behind. The only way to do that is to have a team that works it. The only way to do that. I feel like there's leverage in team, and when you're a single agent, it's hard to get other single agent reports that can tag team deals with you. But when you take the time to establish just one team, now the two of you are in that together. Now you've got what you have before. A little in front of tactic 3.
Yeah.
But so just a note for the people who are thinking about a team, but they're wondering if it will cost them more than it will earn them. I think the answer to the question is it depends on how you set up the team and the strategies there. It's just like saving money, there's strategies there, right? It's like our 411s. We have goals and we come up with strategies of how to attain the goals, right? So if one of our goals is cost-cutting measures, we could easily think of a bunch of strategies to do that. Keeping track of what you're spending, so you actually know what it is. Looking at your entertainment, looking at your food, looking at your impulse category. That extra stuff you put in the cart when you're already at the store. That extra marketing material, you add it to the cart, or you have pens to give away.
Yeah. Lorna, were you gonna say something earlier?
And I,
Were you gonna say something?
I can't really remember exactly what I was gonna say there, but I think maybe even like Keller Williams just adapted the policy. Like I'm a new agent. I am on my first client, and there's a lot of expenses going into this business that they don't make you aware of when you're taking your courses and things like that. There's a lot of expenses I wasn't expecting to not get any compensation for if my deal falls through. Like we're under contract right now, but if at the end of the day it falls through, I get paid for none of the work that I'm putting in.
Right.
So I think that Keller Williams honestly adapted policy to new agents of letting them know, here's what it's going to cost, here's what you're really looking at, and is this feasible for you? If not, maybe set up some type of programs to help us get in, because honestly, there's a big part of me that wants to not renew because one, I just paid for my license in February and I am still having to renew in May again.
Yeah.
So there's that part of me that's like, I can't afford to do this anymore. And I would love to get in that position to be ahead. And I 100% know how to budget money to where when it does start to come in, that I can make it last and know how to budget myself and know that there's going to be about 6 weeks from each deal, once under contract, until I get paid. That's fine. If they would adapt some sort of program to help us get started, even if it's a draw pay or something like that, where we pay it back in increments later on. But I feel like they're going to lose a lot of agents. A lot of people are going to stop coming into this business because of that financial aspect that we have no control over at the beginning. If it wasn't for my husband, I wouldn't still be able to do this right now.
Lorna, be thankful that you have him. I'm sure you are. I started out as a part-time agent. It didn't work. And so as a part-time agent starting out, I couldn't quit my day job. So I was starting this business.
I still,
right? And if you have the ability to start full-time, you are so lucky to do that. I hope I'm coming through okay, because I know we're having some signal problems.
yeah, it's a little glitchy.
Cash flow can be really, really tricky at first. And so my advice for new agents on cash flow, even when they do have a partner that helps with cash flow, their cash flow usually goes towards the bills, right? Not investing in your business, right? Because they're paying the bills.
Right.
So you can invest your time and so even with that cash flow, buddy, you still have to start out. Somebody asked me, how much do you need to start out in the real estate business? And I said $1,000. And they said, what would you spend that $1,000 on? And I said, well, it only works if I already own a phone and a laptop. Because if I don't own a phone and a laptop, I'm gonna need more than $1,000. But if I own a phone and a laptop, I'd spend that first $1,000 on my first 6 months worth of dues, just $600. And I'd spend the other $400 honestly on business cards. Maybe 100 of that on signage. I wouldn't waste a lot of money on signage. And I wouldn't have a giveaway because I could create one probably for free with a printer.
Right.
So I would keep that really, really super lean. And I would market myself on social media mostly. And secondly, word of mouth. So I'd start out with a 200-piece mailer. There was a handwritten note, and in each mailer I'd put in 2 business cards. And so I'd use 400 cards on my first mailer. And the card would be note size, like someone sending me a thank you note, because people always open those. And I would try to get a bulk rate on the postage by taking all 200 of them into the post office at the same time and reduce my costs there. Okay. I'd go to the dollar store and buy note cards. They'd be cheap, almost free. I'd buy ones that have like a pretty color on them, you know, something that makes people smile color-wise, because they're not gonna be too fancy. And then I'd write 200 handwritten notes, and in those notes I'd say, I just became real estate. Could I ask you? And give these cards out to 2 people you know that are. And I specifically use that to help me. Because people love it when you ask them for help. They actually love it. If they can help you, it makes them feel really good to do so. And so if you ask for help, they like to be asked. And if they're able to give the help, they will, because they like to give help. And so it's a nice way to ask people, because 80% of them will want to help you. And these are all people that know you. They all know Lorna. Why would they want to help Lorna? They love Lorna. So it's a great
I'm new to
way
Pittsburgh too.
It's a great way to get the ball rolling. It's super cheap. Now it takes hours to write handwritten notes. So they kind of flirt, right? And the longer you write them, the sloppier your hand. So put some breaks in there. So
Right.
real nice.
I've done like flyers and golden letters and stuff like that, which Doug hasn't approved like my golden letter yet. He said we have to talk about like a couple little beats and that's it. But I plan on like hand delivering those to each mailbox, you know, to save on post. But then again, I'm like, cost of gas, what am I spending versus, you know, whatever, but get exercise, I guess, and walk the block.
There you go. Lorna, there's a strategy for you right there. So 2 tips. Number 1, never put anything in a mailbox because that's federal property. Always put it on their door. Put it in between their screen door and their main door. Put your paper in a little plastic baggie. Get them at the dollar store, like some kind of clear plastic baggie that you can hang on a doorknob, right? Or check out Amazon for clear plastic baggies that would hang on a doorknob. And they don't need to be real wide because the paper can scroll up, right? It can scroll like, so it's
Right.
right? And you just slip it in there. Forget the rubber band. Don't spend the money on the rubber band. Just slip it in the bag and hang it on the doorknob. You won't break any laws with the mailbox. The papers will stay dry if you get them inside the screen, this glass door, okay? If you're willing to walk on a sunny day, a beautiful day, guys, and you'll save the gas. You'll save the postage. There's a higher probability that someone will answer the door. And the second you get the day of face, you don't for in 30 seconds. You can't do that in
Right.
That won't ever happen in the mail. So if you're willing to put in the time, now you've just increased your odds of having a conversation, which increased your odds of getting an opportunity.
Yeah. Which I've done the door knocking and stuff too as well. It's just
It's a pain.
at the end of the day, like I need some type of advertising. Huh?
So I want to tell you guys this, and Mike's heard this before. And then I'm going to give it back to Alanna because I don't want to occupy the whole time. But literally, year 1 through 4, I tracked where the leads came back. And then I went back at year 4 and reflected, and here's what I found. 33% of my business came from my mouth, which is free to me. Everywhere I go, I make sure it's real. Everywhere I go. And I do it consistently, and I give out a card, and 33% of my business comes from that activity, and it costs me nothing but time.
Right.
Start there.
Right.
You'll
But
make-
how I was tying that into the book was like pretty much just find something less cost effective that you can spread widely and reduce the large cost items that you can only produce in a small amount because you can only afford so much. Like
Right.
just yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's like, especially like, you know, Chris giving like really awesome, you know, insight as to like, you know, when you're first starting out, you know, the struggles and then how to kind of be effective both with your lead generation and your time, and kind of 2 birds with 1 stone. And then also like doing that also grows your database. But, you know, like pulling that back into the book, I think that, you know, in part of tactic 2 here, it says like, no matter the market, you always follow the philosophy of lead with revenue. Always working from a profitability, working from a position of already on the book. And so once you get some more leads on the kind of plan out, like, okay, you know, like this commission out, like, okay, like this commission, this is what I can put back into business. And always viewing money on your business as something that should pay you, as it's not just, you know, putting money having a
Right.
Okay, really good news for Lorna, and I'll make it quick. Year 1, time, spent nothing but my own time, closed 4 deals, $1,000. Didn't cost me anything but my time. I was still working a job, but I donated the time, and I came out with 25 grand. I said, I capped year 1 part-time. I said, let me pay my tax bill. Let me put as much of this as I can back into the business, but let me survive. So the first investment wasn't
Right.
it was a smaller bucket, the investment, because the survival was the bigger bucket, right? But then you just, and what happens is every year you get quicker, more efficient, better at the hard conversations, better at closing every deal you touch. More people know your name, more people call your phone, more business comes back. You're still telling everybody you're in real estate, but your volume just naturally goes up. So mindset,
Right.
Lord, year 1. So mindset, to just go back to tactic number 1 real quick. Mindset year 1. You have to work extra hard to remind yourself, I have no cap. I have no ceiling. I can make as much as I put into this. Even though it's not happening this month, the opportunity exists. It will happen. It is there. I am doing this. I am a realtor. I am going to be profitable. Year 1, organic.
Absolutely.
Year 1, hardly any expense. Profitable. Profitable. Okay.
Right.
That's all that happened for you.
Thank you.
That's all.
I also think just jumping in, you know, just jumping into tactic 3, with your lead generation, name out there, especially as a new agent, it like to so under people on page 39 on tactic 3, so there are 2 types of people in your business: those directly employed by you and those indirectly employed by you. And so, you know, obviously you're paying yourself, so you don't have like a team that you're writing paychecks for. But if you treat your vendors who support you as and expectations, I'm trying to make money, you know, like I'd love to also help you out, and creating that rapport and building those relationships with those vendors, and, you know, just being frank with them.
That's B2B marketing.
Yep.
That's
exactly.
business to business marketing. You want a referral buddy,
Yeah.
Then you want to create people who are super fans. Or you have super fans among you already. These are people who love you. They might not need to buy or sell, but they know people who do. They do.
Right.
That need super fans.
It's like I've already used Todd at AJM Mortgage, like Todd and Carrie, and I've already used them, and you know, I've came kind of BS with her, like, hey, sorry to bug you. This is what I need, you know, whatever. But she's been great. So.
No, I like even just in the office, like, I've heard like Karen be like, oh yeah, like be like Lorna's deal and then blah blah. And because it's like I'm only half listening because I'm nosy and I'm also at the front desk and I can hear everything. So-
Right.
But like, yeah, they're like they like and I even know like Doug is super proud of you that like you already have like
Oh.
it close up. So like, like those are also like your
Yeah.
like I know that it obviously it really sucks. Like when I heard that, even though you got your license in February, you still have to renew. I was like, wow, that's whack. But like if you're struggling with like those finances as well, I would like also a part of your leverage, I would heavily lean on Doug and Joe because Joe as the operating partner, he's been in this, he owns his own investment company. If you're struggling with those expenses, like we're as like the leadership team, we are willing to work with you and figure out what your needs are and how we can help you. Because like obviously like you've only been in the business for like not even 90 days yet and like you're closing a deal. Like
It's amazing.
That's super cool.
That's exactly where you should be, Lorna. When
Yeah.
I started in the business in my first 3 months, I reached out to my super fans and one of them brought me a deal. And I had one deal in the first 3 months. That's all, just one. And after I closed that deal, I got another one. And after I closed that deal, I got another one. And when you're in the middle of deal one, you're thinking to yourself, boy, I'd like to have 5 right now. But the truth is this. My grandmother used to say this. She would say, Christy, God doesn't give you everything. Then she would say, do you know why? And I would say, no. And she would say, where would you put it? I mean, where are you gonna put it all? You can't have it all at the same time. You gotta have a place to put it, okay? Right. And this is true about deals, Lorna. You only have so much time in the day. While you're mastering this first one and you're working towards mastery, as you wrap it up, guess what's gonna happen? The second one's gonna fall in your lap. You're gonna be working towards mastery. You're gonna see that.
Right.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that is a stressor. Well, I don't have another one in the works right now, so what's gonna happen when this is done? I get paid and I'm stuck again, like.
Yet.
In the works yet.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't have another one yet.
Yes.
You will.
Okay, so Michael just brought us back to mindset. Tactic number 1. Our glass is half full. We are abundant. We are grateful for everything we already possess. There is nothing that we want. We already have it. There are things we need to grow our business. We need to grow our business. And so we show up every day to do that. And every day the work that we put in is growing our business. It's growing us. The number one thing that we're investing in, Michael, is what? Us. Because as we invest in our mindset, our peace of mind, our knowledge, our skills, our negotiation tactics, as we invest in those things, the people around us see how capable we are of doing those things. And they're attracted to that. They know that Lorna can get them to close. They feel it coming out of her pores. That's how confident she is when she walks into the room to talk about real estate. And so it's mindset first, and then we do work. I want to pour everybody's attention to page 38. It's the best page, page 38, there's a list. There's a list of 6 things, and these six things are your big rocks. When you look at that glass as full, it's got these 6 big rocks in it. These are the most important things to do every day.
In order.
Do you have to, in order. Do you have to brush your teeth? Yeah, it's a little rough. Do you have to wash the car? Yeah, put somebody in and it's got to look good. But you got to do these 6 things. You got to do them every day. Every day. And anything that would distract you from these 6 things that aren't important to you, family, God, whatever they are, if they're not these 6 things, part of your mindset habit is to learn how to say no. No to that thing. You'll get pulled in so many directions. They'll call you 16 times a day. Lorna, would you like to buy this marketing package? No. I don't need that marketing package. I already have a plan right here to follow, and I have marketing to do that I can afford, that's in my budget, and I'm gonna do that.
Right.
All part of it. So
Correct.
Lorna, I hope we'll see you at 4 o'clock. Guys, I need to go jump on another Zoom call. The joys of this being able to move from one room to another. Thank you very much. It's exciting to see you. Congratulations and good luck. Please, we're all here to help you.
Thank you.
Lorna, you got this. Don't miss this 4 o'clock class. Joe's gonna kill it.
Good. Bye, guys. Got to run. See you.
Bye.
Sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, but yeah, thank you. And yes, stick with it because Doug is incredibly psyched about you and loves that you he's like, yes, she has a deal. And like, you know, like, he's like, this is what I'm talking about with PC. And so it's like, if you stick with it, you know, it like, if you ever have any questions, you know, like the leadership team is here. I know Allie has been helping you a lot. Like, I'm sure that Chris would love to help you with that. So any questions?
Lorna, not to make you feel weird, but I want you to know this. When you smile, it happens in your mouth and in your eyes. And as soon as you smile, it is 100% transparent that you have integrity and that you have honesty and that you're in this business because you want to serve your clients. I was in this business a couple of years before I was in Bold. And when I was in my first Bold, Cody Gibson said, and it penetrated me, he said, I don't even think about the money. And I was still thinking about the money, honey. I was thinking about the money first, because I'm a business major. How could I not? But he said, you know, I got to the point in my real estate practice, all I thought about, how can I serve this person in the field? And the more of my passion in my heart I put into just doing that, the more money ended up in my wallet.
Integrity, do the right thing.
Right.
They are directly connected. The more service you provide because you really want to do it in your heart, the more money flows into your checkbook. It just happens.
Right.
It's the most amazing thing. And you don't have to think about how to do it. You just have to serve. That's all you have to do.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Hope to see you at 4. I'll send out links as well if you just want to attend on Zoom. And it'll also be recorded. So hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Here.